Everything we need already exists inside of us. We hold the key to open the door to discover who we are and why we exist. Conversations help us find that truth. Relationships are vital. IDKY hopes to ignite your curiosity and perhaps give you courage to open the door. Welcome to the IDKY podcast. Our podcast is designed to look closer at the lives of some fascinating people who know who they are and are rooted in what they do. Our hope is to present to the audience how self-awareness leads to a foundational path of purpose. Every human soul is made to shine bright. May the light you see within our guests help illuminate the flame that sits inside of you. Today, we welcome Holly Kirsh to our podcast. Thank you for being here, Holly.
Oh, I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Yes, this has been an exciting season of my life, and I'm going to start with the first time that we met, which was a day, we talked about this in the podcast with Anne, that I was having a really frazzled day, and I was coming into your beautiful boutique, AH Collections, for a book signing. And it had just been a bad day. And I walk in, and one of the things I remember is meeting you and your warm hug that really just helped me settle, take a deep breath, and just go, it's all going to be okay. And so I thank you. That was the first time I met you. And so I thank you for that warm invitation and being here that night. You didn't have to be here, but I was so grateful that you were here.
Of course. I knew I was supposed to be here. I remember wearing a pickleball outfit because I was on my way to pickleball.
Yes.
But I was like, I want to learn about you and the book. And I remember buying my friend Kim, who that book has been very helpful, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And she thanked me. And you signed it for her. And so it was just like the Holy Spirit was just flowing in there. So I felt like we were meant to be, and then we run into each other again.
Yes. So here's my side of that story, because you probably don't know the details that I had before that. So we are following the Indiana Hoosiers National Championship run. Oh, what a gift. What a treat. So many amazing memories of that. And we're in Atlanta at a restaurant/bar, and I think our waiter got distracted or something. I was really thirsty. I went to get a water. So I walk up to the bar, and it just so happens that there is a man sitting at the bar with a red jumpsuit, which is what my son, when he was adult, that was their uniform.
That was JJ, I remember.
JJ. So, and JJ is, to you?
He's a really good friend of my oldest son, Trevor.
Okay. So JJ, I didn't remember his name. We're chatting a little bit, talking about delts at IU. And there's this beautiful girl sitting, I kind of am in between them. And I'm talking to this beautiful girl, and she's super friendly. And the next thing I know, you pop up behind her. And I was like, what? And I believe that was your daughter, correct?
That was my daughter, Olivia. I was trying to think, okay, it had to be Olivia because we went as a family, and then my son brought his roommate that was JJ, that was a Delt at IU. Yeah. And so they've maintained lifetime friends, and it was just such a special day. But I was like, oh my gosh, Lisa, because I hadn't really seen you since the book signing, which had been probably 2 or 3 months before that. Right.
And so that was, what a treat. And then I got to meet your daughter and your husband.
Yeah, and maybe my other son, Harrison.
And then I got to also have a brush back to my son's high school days, Wyatt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Did I love watching him as an athlete. And just loved his mom, talking to her in the stands and stuff. So there was so much
world.
there. It was so fun. And then after we won the national championship in Miami, we were on the same plane ride home.
I know.
So that was super fun too. You walk by, I'm like, hey, Holly. And that was great too. So I was telling Colin, the editor for the podcast, about this. And he said, well, maybe we should interview her too. And I'm like, that's a great idea. So here we are.
Okay.
Here we are, and I am just so grateful and just so blessed that all of those things happened, and now we get to know a little bit more about who you are and what you do and how you tick and how you got here.
Thank you. Well, I love the destiny of life. That's my favorite thing. My husband and I have a movie way back in, I think it was probably in the 80s, but it was called Mr. Destiny. It's just like how one choice takes your road a certain way. And sometimes that's a good way, or sometimes it's a stumbling way, but then later you always realize why that happened, sometimes during the journey.
Yes.
But I loved how we kept crossing paths. So that was a God thing.
Did you have anything different?
In what way?
How you perceived it? Did you perceive it the same way I did?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think it's funny. I think it's fun to hear different stories because we all have our own perspective, right?
Right. I feel like, even that red light, you're like frustrated because you're late.
Yes.
And like you had said today, we were going to do this, and I gave you heads up, I'm running a little bit late. And you're like, if you had come on time, we would have been unloading in the torrential downpour.
Yes.
So these are the little things that you always think, okay, just because things change just a little bit, it affects the destiny of how the day goes and how sometimes life goes.
Yes. Oh, yes. That is so true. Can you think of a situation where the destiny took you down a wrong path?
I always, as an optimist, I always think of the right path.
I know.
So then thinking of the wrong path, of course, I think about, when I think of a wrong path, I think of a hardship. Mm-hmm. When I think of a hardship, I think as being a first-time mom and having a son born with a heart condition, not getting diagnosed till he was 6 months of age, literally thought all the other babies were overweight. I honestly thought, as a mom, because my son Trevor was low birth weight, but to me he looked so cute, right? Because they're little babies,
right?
And all my friends' babies were really full cheeks, and and I always told my husband, I go, I don't know if they know, but their babies are fat. Did I not realize they were healthy and my son wasn't? Because you have love for your own child.
Right.
So he goes in at 6 months and they hear a murmur, which is not unusual. So my husband we were so secure in all of this. He was on a golf trip and I'll go down to Riley. She goes, it's probably nothing, a lot of people have, but anytime we hear that, we just want to double check. And I will never forget, the doctor that came in after doing all the testing had no bedside manner, but maybe it was good to hear the worst, and then you can only hear better from there. And I remember the words heart transplant, coarctation, high risk, and I just remember feeling like it was in a movie scene, like this can't be happening. Probably that road led me to grasp onto my faith even deeper, because, you have no control of the outcome. So we were researching what his diagnoses were, researching should we do surgery now as a 6 month or wait till he's 1. And I just remember being involved in a Bible study and really feeling the Holy Spirit working inside of me. My husband comes from a Jewish background, and which is such a beautiful faith. It's all part of our faith. But he kind of grew his personal faith as a Christian during this time. So even though that was bad, my son is healthy at age 33 and has had 4 heart surgeries, just became a dad, has a 1-month-old little daughter. So God is good. But that 10-year journey of kind of all these surgeries definitely was a destiny of a road that I didn't want to take.
Yes.
But through it all, I think my son has had so many beautiful, he's very faithful himself. He's grown into the most incredible man. Gave me some hard times as a teenager, not gonna lie. But we got through all that, and couldn't be more proud and grateful for his help and who he is today.
And what a witness to the mom who has a young child out there, and is, like you said, we think our babies are perfect, and we do err on the side of caution. But to the understanding that, maybe, I don't know what you could have done differently. Like maybe you would have been a little more aware if you didn't look at the other babies as feeling fat, but that was in your own culture, right? And so you were just comparing it to what you knew.
A mama's love.
And what I love about that story is let's give those young women out there that have a very difficult job right now of raising babies in a world that feels very hard, to just give themselves the grace.
Amen.
And just, they don't have to be perfect.
No.
They just need to go to the appointments, let it be revealed when it gets revealed, and the hope of getting through all that. You can probably be a great witness to somebody that's been through some really difficult things with the
Absolutely. I feel like God's used my story to help other people who have gone through similar things with their children. So.
Right. And I think teenagers have to give us a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Some look different than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some bring forth different worries than others do, but
yeah, they're evolving and growing, and you almost rather make their mistakes then, so you can hover over them a little bit and help guide them. But it is a challenge to parent an adult child.
I remember my son getting upset with me because I would always say, I just pray you get caught, because he's really smart.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and he said, that's not fair. And I'm like, you can't stop me.
Yeah.
Because
and that's interesting.
I do believe that even though it's hard when they make mistakes in the house, it's so much better than when they leave the house and make the mistakes. So as anybody with teenagers out there, keep
lots
moving.
Lots of prayers.
Keep moving.
They get answers, sometimes not as fast as you want.
Right, yeah. What else do you have going on right now that you think that would be good to start the podcast? We're going to have 4 sessions. This is the first one. What else would you like to frame in the beginning that's going to maybe be important for the other things that we're going to discuss?
Well, I think we always go back to ourselves and our youth and how we were raised and how that affects our future. And then with the good and the bad, how do we grow and evolve to who we are today from those experiences? So for me, it surprised a lot of my friends when I shared publicly. I was on stage in front of thousands of people on my health and wellness company, and they'd asked me to tell my story. And of course, whenever that's asked, you're like, what do I have to share that anyone wants to listen about, right? We always do that self-talk, self-love. And I actually hired somebody to help me, and she is a strong Christian, and she told me to get really quiet and think of all the memories, good and bad, that I can remember from when I was born up till I was a teenager. So that's a good exercise. I, tend to just live in the moment and go forward and I've never had that victim mentality to go back and just make the best of every day. But it's a good exercise to do because sometimes we can throw things under the rug and put our rose-colored glasses, and we have these blocking points in our lives that we don't understand how we can advance. Right. And it's always based on what we heard when we were growing up or what we experienced. So as a woman in her mid-50s at this time, it was a really interesting exercise because, even for you, Lisa, you can kind of shut your eyes and think, oh, what are my first memories? And, the first memory I remember was in kindergarten, my mom dropping me off at school, But what I realized is I had been silenced. I was very shy, awkward, and introverted, which surprises a lot of my friends today.
It is surprising. And
a lot of that had to do with what I witnessed and what happened to me. So my parents, I was the oldest, and I remember hearing some arguing from time to time, and the next thing I know, my dad's moving out, I'm 6, and I remember hearing my mom cry in the shower every night. Like she didn't want to cry in front of me, and I had a 3-year-old brother, and I remember feeling very unsafe, not in the way that of safety, but just feeling fearful and anxious because my mom was my rock, and she was the most, I always call her my land angel because she was very faithful, very sweet, loving, just loved people so much that it really hurt me to see her hurting, and she was doing her best to hide it from me, but then I would witness it. And so what happened is when I would go to school, I would be I threw up in class, like they had a sink, and I remember literally so they would call on me to answer a question, and I had a lot of mental block going on, and so I wasn't able to answer the questions. I didn't have any friends. I just felt lost, I guess. And with that, I got behind scholastically in school because I wasn't listening. I mean, I wasn't absorbing. I was just trying to survive. And then as my dad had moved on, he had married the secretary that worked for him. And I would go visit because they lived in Atlanta, Georgia, both my mom and my dad. And I always looked back at how sweet my mom was, because not only was the family life kind of broken, I would go over there and they would take us out and do fun things. I probably came home and told Mom how much fun I had, which, looking back, you don't know any different.
No.
But with time, I also was kind of silenced with my stepmom. Like I was shy already, so they had children. I was the big sister, and I would come visit. They moved because he was with Xerox, so we moved a lot of places. And I just remember her asking me to be quiet because my voice was too high-pitched and annoying. So here I am just trying to make my way. So I just became even more quiet and awkward and inconfident. But some great things happen out of that. That's when you said, it's a roadblock that happens and then you learn from it. Is I'll never forget my 5th grade teacher. She got me caught up scholastically, which when you are, young like that, you feel so much better when you feel like you can understand just like your peers and not be in a special section because you're so I got caught up. But I also give a lot of credit to my stepdad. So my mom remarried while she went to community college, met my stepdad, and he was kind of a rebel, but she invited him over, and I remember the doorbell ringing. I was 6, my brother was 3, and my 3-year-old brother asked him if he was going to be our new dad. First date. Well, guess what? He ended up being our dad. My mom cooked him SpaghettiOs out of a can. Oh. So for him to get SpaghettiOs and to have 2 kids, and that didn't scare him away. And I honestly think they married on the rebound, and it was probably the worst thing a marriage counselor would say, but by the grace of God, they were married until they both passed away. And I always say their story was like The Notebook. Very loving relationship. And then he got a calling to become an Episcopal priest when I was in middle school. So we had, but he was the one who helped me. I was really behind scholastically, and he was very boisterous, which kind of was opposite of me. And he knew I wanted to get caught up with my peers, and he knew I was having issues. So he stood me up on the kitchen table with those flashcards. I don't know if they still use those with today's world, for the multiplication. And he would yell, 6 times 4. And I would say 24. He's like, louder, 8 times 11. 88. I can't hear you. So next thing I know, I'm screaming my answers and answers and answers. He keeps asking me. Well, I got so frustrated that I threw the whole box of multiplication cards at him. And I had never shown any type of movement like that of being aggressive. And all he did was he's like, there you are. He goes, there you are. And so I feel like that's been a pivotal moment. That was the time that I was really starting to get more confident, get my own voice, get my own opinion, because I pretty much was just this little person that wasn't taking anything, wasn't listening to anything because I was feeling stressed, and the anxiety just kind of continued. But I think getting caught up scholastically gave me the confidence, and then all of a sudden I started having friends, and then I started really realizing who I was. So that was a pivotal time in my personal life of being kind of, told that I was too loud and annoying. Yeah,
people were projecting on you falsities that your little self knew no better and believed, and he knew that he kind of needed to wake the real you up, huh?
Yeah, we were raised by, we can all agree to disagree and be friends, which today's world, you don't see that as much. It's like if you don't think I do religiously or politically, I can't be your friend. Where I have all friends from all religions and all political views, because to me, that's what makes the world go round. We all have a different look and view, and we all need to be seen and felt heard.
Right.
Yeah.
And the value of when you are heard, even though you don't even know that you're silent. It's freedom.
Yes.
We all need to have the freedom to express the truth that's inside of us, whatever that is.
Yes.
Even if it's not true to the world, like for you to recognize that and for your stepfather to bring that out.
Yeah.
That's so profound. That's really beautiful. And I feel like there's a lot of people in this world that are trapped in that acting space of trying to fit in. And we've got to get to the point where we belong, and that's enough. We don't we're not meant to fit in. Because then we just become uniform with everybody else. We're meant to.
We want to be unique.
We were created to be unique, and somebody else is doing that job, and that's not our job to do, right?
Amen.
Right. Do you have anything more you want to add to that story?
I think just, know that when you have that hardship, that there's usually some good things coming, and sometimes it doesn't happen overnight, and just continue to have faith.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. That concludes our session 1. Thank you for joining us. Come back for session 2 where we'll talk more with Holly.